No, oh man, no, little Eric Orca.
We have grandparents in the house today, so
Okay,
he is he is elsewhere.
gotcha.
Unless you want him to join, I'm more than happy to bring him over.
I'd be more than yeah. He was very entertaining last time. He was he's something else. Just gonna send out an email with the link.
Alrighty.
I have some good news. It looks like Alvin may be joining us as well.
Great.
Yeah. Okay. How's your weekend?
It was pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
We just had the grandparents. They arrived on Saturday, and then great, great having help with Alexander too.
That's awesome. That's cool.
And it's the last week of school over here.
Oh, right.
They're in finals right now, so.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Things are getting quiet.
Gotcha. Are you guys on the semester system?
Yes.
Okay. Just turn this slide on. Too much. Yeah, we're on the trimester system.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been, so our finals was around Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
So
now you're in a winter term, I guess. However that works.
That starts in January for us.
Okay.
Yeah, and we go longer than most schools. We go until like middle of June.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're late August to about this week in December. Then we start up late January again and go to mid-May.
Okay.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Hi. Good to see you again.
Same here. Welcome back.
It's good to be back. Still coordinating this chat app. It's weird how you get to everything. You kind of have to like go down this rabbit hole, and then you get there and you're like, excellent, it all works.
Yeah.
You actually.
I don't. Yeah, we're never gonna fully figure it out. I don't think.
Well, you guys have. You're probably way ahead of me, millennium ahead of me.
Well, I just started, so that I have the luxury of not having to try to figure out how to get to it.
Right, but yeah, I was just thinking that you have to probably coordinate everything, so it's a lot more hands-on than what I have to do. Just click a link when you send it. But it was weird getting to the video call. I went through about 4 pages, I think. I actually got the little tiny green prompt to say, click here, open the video call. So
really, wow.
Yeah, it was intense. So to put it in certain words.
Chris, you should one of these hangouts. It'd be great if you could. I don't know if you can do a screen grab. I'd love to see, the path that you have to take.
Yeah, let me try to. You're giving me more tasks than I can handle at the moment.
Not now.
If I can remember. Yeah, I'll get it for you. Hold on, it won't take too long.
Yeah, it'd be great to see what you guys see.
Okay, see that?
Yes.
This little guy right here on the right. But I had to link to it about 3 times to get to that page, and then I've noticed that little green thing to click on. So.
Oh, okay.
Fun times.
So you have to click on that green camera icon to start it?
Yeah. I have to open up a plus chat, and then yours comes up. I click on that, and then I click on the little video camera, and that initiated I saw prompts for initiating the phone call, but that didn't do much. Hey, Jim.
Hey. Can you hear me okay?
Hey,
Yep.
Jim. Yeah, loud and clear. Welcome.
I'm going to close my office door.
Go right ahead. Yeah.
I'm getting you into right.
Put your headphones on.
I did. I hear you. Headphones.
We should just share a computer.
Yeah, so we have a few minutes
Because we get the
before.
echo from the audio. I was just kidding.
Hey, Chris, I'm closing the blinds in my office so no natural light gets through.
Oh, yeah, I could, but then I wouldn't be on the video.
No.
Because my camera's here.
Oh, you're just going to get a profile.
I can't get this camera to work.
You're right there, dude. I mean, it's still picking you up. They're just not looking directly into it.
Okay. I like to look people in the eyes.
Okay.
Hey, Alvin.
Do the audio. Or is it without speakers? Oh, with the speakers, rather.
Alvin, can you hear us? Okay. Well,
He's not responding.
we have Alvin on. Let me put the group chat on. Just sent Alvin a chat message.
Yes, I can now hear you.
All right.
Okay. Okay.
Great.
Hey, I just want to make sure everybody can hear me.
Can hear you just fine.
Yep.
Okay, that's
Yep.
great.
See, Lauren also joined us. Although I can't see Lauren.
Yes, I see a black screen.
Oh,
Okay, something's coming in.
there she is. She's underneath the table.
Okay.
But it looks like she's talking, but I can't hear anything. Can you guys?
No, I can't hear anything now. It's an odd place for a camera.
Yeah.
All right. Let me try and email Lauren.
It looks like a reflection of something.
I'm thinking like in the laptop is on the below the table. There you go. That's better. Does she have audio yet?
I don't think so.
Hey, there's Jamie. Welcome, Jamie. Nope.
Nothing yet.
That's why I started the hangout 10 minutes early.
Good thing. Good thing.
So that everything can start 10 minutes late because it's going to take 20 minutes to get everything.
That's right. That's right, Jim. Well, Wing, I will let you start whenever you want to start, and
Well, okay. First, welcome everybody to the web service tutorial. Okay. Actually, Eric asked me this question just about like an hour ago. How should I want the format of the presentation go? I mean, what kind of format? And I told him I really want interaction, meaning. Hey guys, I really want you to interrupt me anytime you want, when you have questions, when you have like suggestions, or you are actually like doing something, and then suddenly you run into some problem, and you want us like the group to address the problem. Cut in anytime you want. But there's one thing I want to like at least like remind you. When I'm sharing my screen, for example, if I want to show you my code and so on and so forth, if you start speaking, the video will switch to you. Then it can be a bit like disturbing when I'm sharing screen. Otherwise, I would say anyone who wants to speak anytime, just cut in. Okay, this is just a discussion group, not like lecturing. I don't like that. Okay, so anytime when you have questions, anything, just ask, unless I'm sharing my screen.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yep.
There's a pirate among us.
Okay, so let me just say that again. Okay, welcome everybody, and I really want you to like to join in and to interact with the group, the entire group. So anytime when you have questions, anything, any suggestion, just like cut in. Okay. Um, okay. The first thing I want to do is to ask everybody to say something about yourself. Well, your name. How much you know about like PHP and web services, and at least I want to gather some ideas. Okay, where I should start. Are there like real beginners in the group, or everybody at least knows something about web services? So Elvin, why don't I start with you? I know you know a lot about web services.
Yeah, we've got our own library that Phil, who used to work in our area, built, and I know enough PHP to be dangerous and edit Phil's scripts. I don't do a whole lot of PHP coding, but have figured out enough to modify his to do a couple of other things. We have a bunch of import scripts for web services, as well as some things to do manipulations on indexed and publishable directories and files, that kind of thing. So we've written some things. I really just wanted to see what Wing's library was all about, so that we'd have yet another resource. And then we've got a new employee who's in the team, and I'll want her to try and do some of this on her own, but I wanted to go through it and make sure that she would be able to get through it.
Okay. Hey Chris, how about you? You had a green hat.
The Mohawk. Well, I think my PHP history states for itself that I know too much for my own good. But
Yes.
I guess, I mean, you just want us to describe what we know about it and how we use it in our everyday, in an everyday case.
Well, then, I mean, you are a veteran as far as PHP is like concerned. What about web services?
I've used web services for many things, everything from e-commerce solutions in the past to business-to-business transactions for data sharing. I've never used it in the capacity of a content management system, though. So this is
you haven't done anything like with Cascade yet?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Not with PHP.
Hey, Eric España.
Sure.
Yeah. What do you want to say to the group?
Well, first of all, hi everyone. Eric España from Union College in Schenectady, New York. I've used Wing. Well, first of all, I know a little bit of PHP, enough to be dangerous. And I've also started using Wing's library about a year and a half ago. I just started simply, and I'm looking forward to doing more advanced things with it. So, yeah.
Hey, the other Eric.
Hello, everybody. My name is Eric Orca, and I work at Reed College in Portland, Oregon. I am more than a little dangerous with PHP, I suppose. And all my experience with web services so far has been with Cascade. So we've done quite a bit of things, but we don't have a cohesive library that we're working with. So anything that'll make this process easier would be great.
Okay, Jamie, is that you with that pirate hat?
Arg! I've done a little bit of PHP development, but again, just enough to be dangerous. Fairly a newbie when it comes to web services, though. I've not done any heavy lifting with that. I've edited some of Phil's scripts who used to work with us, but that's about the extent of it.
Okay, so Chris and Jamie, I will assume you two are kind of like, well, I'm not talking about web services, okay? I'm talking about Cascade web services. I can like treat you as kind of like beginners, and like, well, every now and then I'll check with you two, okay? Well, can you follow or something like that, okay? But if you don't be offended, okay? Because you told me, okay, you don't know too much about like Cascade web services. Okay, what's the name of the next guy? Sorry, because I can't see your name.
Oh, are you talking about Jim?
Must be James.
Oh,
yeah.
Jim.
Oh, must be me.
James.
Yep.
Oh. My name is Jim Kreitziger. I work at UC Irvine. I'm about 5 feet from Chris. He's in the office on the other side of the wall from me. I, again, know enough about PHP to be dangerous. We did some web services stuff with Cascade back when we first started with Cascade about 7 years ago. Since then, nothing, and that's pretty much it. I am the classic jack of all trades, master of none. So that's pretty much it.
Okay. Lauren, how about you?
Yeah, I'm fairly beginner at both PHP and web services. I know enough that I can usually find something that's close to what I'm looking for and tweak it with a little bit of help to make it do what I want. And we've got, right now, we're using PHP and web services to import job listings and a staff directory. But we'd like to see what other systems we could integrate and use it for as well.
Okay. Okay, again, welcome everybody. So there are at least 3 kind of like beginners here. So I will go slowly, okay, unless everybody tells me, Wayne, we can speed up a little, okay? It all depends on like how much you want to like learn from this tutorial and how far you want me to push you. But at least, okay, for today, I would do it slowly, okay? First, I want to, well, at least, okay, offer you a big picture, what web services can offer you. And I'm going to give you a demo, okay, what I've been like doing with web services, just a tiny bit of it, okay. I have like hundreds of scripts, but at least I want to show you what you can do. First, I want to show you, okay, some, let's see, let me find what I want to show you first. Okay, I want to share my screen now. I will share my entire desktop so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
I need some feedback. Okay,
Yes.
okay. First, I want to address one important issue. Okay, I talked about this last year about like username and password. Try not to hard code your username and password in your authentication file because it's visible to everybody and it's dangerous. So this is our basic setup. I have a site in which I run all my scripts, but this is the second site. Okay, this is the site that is accessible to well, at least the web team and some other users, and they can log in. And when we log in, the username and password actually are passed into the web service scripts. So I don't need to like do anything like any hard coding because I need to like go through this step first. Once I log in, then I use my username and password and feed that into the authentication file. So I am looking at my account right now. At the end of the demo, I want to like show you this working with messages, okay? But at least let me just show you some other things, okay, before I come here. First, I want to show you, okay, like something simple, so I can like list all the sites in our like Cascade installation, site under in development, and some other sites. This is a simple script, okay, using like list sites. And then I want to like show you the second script, the second screen, okay, the groups and users. This will take about like 99 seconds, okay, to run. I want to show you this because I want you to have a feel, okay, what web services like when you run a script, what you can expect. Well, it's actually quite fast this time. It's still running, okay. When you run a script against a lot of assets, okay, it could be like users, it can be pages, it can be anything, okay. But when you run a script that deals with a lot of assets, you will need to expect, okay, it takes time to run the script. It may be like a few seconds. It can run actually up to like an hour, okay, because I mean, when I, for example, convert a site from non-responsive to responsive, just a simple folder, okay, consisting of about let's say 50 pages, okay, it can take like half an hour to run. So this just like shows you, okay, when you like list all the groups and like who belongs to what group, it will take a while to run the script. Okay, I want to like show you this. I don't know whether like you guys, okay, really like want to like deal with messages. I'm talking about these, okay. So everybody like following what I'm talking about?
Yep.
I'm talking about the messages, okay, sent to you by Cascade. First, they are like account dependent, meaning you can only see your own messages. You cannot see other people's like messages unless you assume their identity. I assume, okay, most users will just ignore them. But well, let me just go around. How many of you really like read the messages? Okay.
I try to delete them. Delete all every once in a while.
I'll read them if Alvin tells me to.
Only if I'm debugging some problem. Otherwise, I delete them.
Yeah. But when you have like hundreds of messages, okay, how do you know, okay, which are problematic? Well, which one you want to read, which one you don't want to read, for example. Okay, let me show you the interface, okay. Where am I? Too many of them. No, okay. I have an interface, okay, because I log in as myself. So I can only see my messages, and I can use this page to manage my messages. First, if I want to read, okay, without like filtering, so I can do this, okay. Well, a moment ago, okay, I want to show you again, okay. I have 229 messages. Normally, I don't have that many because I basically clean up every day. But for this presentation, I want to accumulate some so that I can show you, okay, what that script can do. So 229, I have like 229 messages. Of course, I can read everything, okay? Everything is listed in this page, okay, if I like list all of them, 229 of them, okay? But normally, I don't want that, okay? I want to skip, for example, all the messages without issues. For example, I can delete, okay, all the messages, okay, without issues, okay, all the published messages. If I go ahead and delete them, well, deleting 38, okay, not that many. But I am like down to like 100 and something. So if I list all of them, I have less to worry about, okay, 191. Now, if I want to like delete other messages, okay, for example, this one, okay, unpublished messages without issues, okay, I'm deleting like those messages without issues, meaning I don't need to read them. So I'm deleting another 25. So by doing this, okay, by filtering unwanted messages, I can like pinpoint to like, okay, well, of course I can also like add more items, okay, add more radio buttons, okay, to this interface. But I can just like list something I want to read, or I can delete everything if I want to. So right now I have about 100 something messages. By doing this, okay, I just want to show you it's more manageable. If I want to like read a certain part of it, or I want to like delete the major part of it, something like that. So this is a very good use of like web services to manage something that seems okay unmanageable. And also notice, okay, I have to use my username and password to log in and then to see my messages. Okay, are there any questions about this? Okay, I think that's enough for the demo. It's already like 15 minutes. Okay, and then next I want to talk about PHP namespaces. There are 7 namespaces used in my library. 6 I defined them, and 1 the global one. These 6, okay, are used by my library, and when you look at the line like this, okay, use Cascade WSAOHS, okay, this part is the name I use, the namespace I use. The second part, this AOHS, is just a shortcut, a prefix to mean the longer version. And notice, okay, in your own script, you can define your own prefixes. So you don't have to use AOHS. You can, for example, call it, I don't know, H or something like that if you want to. So just let me repeat what I have just said, okay? The namespaces, okay, these longer names are defined by me. But the shorter prefixes, okay, these like C and A and P and so on and so forth, are defined by you. So you can define them any way you want. But of course, okay, I want to like use like the shortest possible prefixes. So I use like C, A, P, U, E, so that I don't need to type a lot. But if you don't like them, okay, if you prefer longer names, okay, you define them any way you want. You just define them in your script. Any questions about this part?
Yeah, Wing, I had a question.
Sure. Let me just get out of this.
No, actually, why don't you stay? Actually, could you stay in the screen share?
Sure.
So one of the PHP syntax conventions that I'm not familiar with is down on line 29, the double colon. Could you talk a little bit about
29? Are you talking about this file?
Yes, data block : type. I see that a lot in your code, and I was wondering what that means in PHP.
Are you talking about this part?
Yes.
Okay. This is a class constant I define in the data block. Well, not exactly in the data block class, okay? I will need to talk to aliases in a second. But actually, the original class, like containing the definition, is called data definition block. This data block is just an alias pointing to that class. Okay, this is a class constant standing for a type. And I always use a constant to like represent anything that doesn't change to avoid typos. Of course, I mean, instead of this, you can actually like use double quote and then you put in 5 characters, okay, block, B-L-O-C-K. That will work. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to do that, okay? I always use like constants to catch any typos. Class constants work this way. If you have a typo in the class name, well, the class is not found. So you see a syntax error. If you have a typo in the all cap constant name, again, that definition, that constant is not defined in the class. You will see a syntax error again. So whatever you do, okay, with the class name or the constant, if there's a typo, you will always see a syntax error, and you'll be caught, okay. Well, be warned, okay. Well, you can't run your program. If you don't do this, let's say if you use define instead, okay, in PHP, then a constant name, okay, with a typo in it will be turned into a string literal, and you won't be warned. That's the difference. So I always use class constants.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions about namespaces and constants and so on before I move on?
Nope.
Okay. You are supposed to use namespaces, okay, like these lines, and you define your own prefixes if you want to, but I will stick with mine, okay? So normally I use these 5. AOHS is used only when I need to access the server object, and normally I don't do that. We'll need to come to the next or the third presentation before we look at the service object. So I normally need 5. And when you use something, okay, like the Cascade object, the service object, because they are predefined in the authentication file, you don't need to do anything. But other than that, if you are talking about like a page, data block, or asset factory, you need to precede the class, okay, using the prefix. And you need to remember which prefix goes with which family of classes. Roughly, okay, roughly. We'll look at the API later. Roughly, when you look at asset classes meaning all those assets, okay, we normally deal with like page, format, data definition blocks, template, and so on and so forth. These are assets. And you need to use the prefix A. If you are looking at smaller parts inside an asset like structured data in a data definition block or a page, you need to use the P prefix, okay, for property. So normally you need to use A or P depending on which class you are dealing with. Most likely A, unless you are dealing with some small parts of it. U is for utility, for debugging. We'll look at the debug utility class later. E is for exception, meaning exception classes I defined. And when you need to catch an exception, for example, you need to use the E prefix. C is for constants. So if you need to access those constants directly, then you need to use the C prefix. Any questions about those prefixes?
No.
Now, what happens if you don't use it? Now, I have, well, let me just run the script, let me see, the read asset, okay? Right now, I am running index block, so index block somewhere, okay, here. So where can I see a constant? A constant, I don't have anything because I have used variables to stand for class names and so on and so forth. So you don't see any constants here. Any prefixes, I mean, it's hard. Okay, let me just do something else. Okay, I'm changing the script and I'm going to run it, okay, just to show you how normally I do that. First, I need to find a block. So let me just grab any block from here. And I want to grab this ID and I want to plug it into my code, okay? And I just want to save this for later use. Okay, so I have this single line of statement, and I'm reading a data definition block, and I'm trying to to dump it. Okay, so this is WS test. Okay, this is a read dump. So when you run a script successfully, you see something like this when you call dump. But let's say if I remove the prefix, okay, just to show you what happens. You see an error, okay? The data block class is not found. Whenever you see something like this, okay, you will know, well, the class is not found, meaning something is missing. The resolution of the name, okay, is not successful. So you know the prefix is missing. By the way, if you want to, okay, you can plug this whole thing into this place. If you want to, okay, you don't have to use the A. So let me just show you, okay? So the A part is just a shortcut for this long string. So you decide, okay, whether you want to use A or whether you want to use like the whole name. Any questions about this? About like what can happen if you don't use prefixes?
Wing, can I ask you something about maybe creating documentation for those types for those of us who don't have? Because like for me, those types show up in my IDE as I type out the class name. It'll provide me.
Okay.
After I do colon, it provides me with a list of constants or methods or whatever.
Sure.
But if you need help with documenting those, I could put something together.
Oh, we can talk about this later.
Just
Definitely.
a quick reference.
Yeah, definitely. We want to talk about this.
If that was one of the things that I had a problem with was, what is it called and how do I get to it? Type of thing.
You have an ID. Okay. I definitely want to know that. Okay.
PHP Storm.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay.
One question.
Okay, sure.
What editor are you using?
I'm using BBEdit. It's like a plain, simple text editor, and it doesn't do much other than just letting me write code. That's all.
Okay.
Any other questions? I need to speed up a little. Otherwise, I mean, we won't be able to finish this before 5 o'clock. But I can save some topics, okay, for the next time, okay, if everybody wants me to slow down, okay. Okay, the next thing, I just want to briefly mention the whistle. First, I have this is my Cascade, okay, so I need to have the first part, this part, in the URL, and then I just tag the second part along, okay, like WS services, and then asset operation service WSDL. If you don't know what to type, I explain this whole thing. Well, actually, you can find this whole thing, okay, in your authentication file. Right. You just put it in, and then you see this XML. I'm skipping everything, okay? The first part talks about types. This is basically the lexicon or the vocabulary of the web service contract between your code and Cascade. I'll skip this, and I will skip the messages. I just want to jump right to the binding part. Actually, the operation down here inside binding. Okay, if you look at these, okay, there are 27 of them. Meaning, okay, Cascade provides you 27 operations that you can use when you talk to Cascade using web services. It also means, okay, whatever you do, you have to reduce everything down to these 27 operations. And it means, okay, when I build my library, I have to, well, whatever you want to do, okay, for example, when you edit a page, when you actually access a certain field, or when you search a certain field or whatever, I have to turn all your need down to these 27 operations. And the whole thing the whole point of building the entire library is to provide users a decent interface so that they don't need to deal with these 27 operations at all. So when you edit a page, okay, I will allow you to, okay, change the field, pick a date or whatever, and then eventually you call edit. I will turn everything, okay, translate everything into these 27 operations and make it work. That's the whole point of a buffer between you and the whistle. Okay, that's all I want to say, okay, about the whistle. If you are interested, search the web and read the whistle. And actually, if you want to, for example, look at my code, you have to understand the whistle first. Okay, briefly, I want to talk about my library, the nature of my library. I told you a moment ago, whatever I provide you, okay, the classes, methods, and so on and so forth, everything must be reduced to whatever understandable by, like, well, that can be understood by Cascade. So everything reduced to these 27 operations. The entire library is built like based on my own design, meaning whatever I find like useful or I love to have, then I'll implement it. If there's something I don't care, I'll leave it out. So the good thing is, okay, it's basically like everything is hidden behind the scene. You just like use whatever I provide you. The bad thing is, I mean, if you find something is missing, well, it's missing. But again, if you really think, okay, a class should have some functionality, well, it should like some function missing, okay, you just let me know. Probably I can like, if I agree to you, okay, agree to your suggestion, probably I can implement it in about like 5 minutes or so. So if you really want something in my library, just let me know. I will try to accommodate as much as I can. That's why my library is basically open-ended in the sense that whatever missing, I can always add that missing part to my library. But then it also means, okay, whenever Cascade, well, Hananiel upgrades or change their API, I'm talking about the wizard, okay, I have to change my library accordingly, just to like to follow them and to provide new functionality. For example, in 7.12, they added the preference object. Well, I need to add a new class to this library. Okay, I want to briefly talk about the history of my the development of my library, so that you know how to read my documentation. Roughly speaking, I started about like almost like 2 years ago. I developed my first class tapping into Cascade Web Services. That's the asset operation handler service class. It's a long name, and we'll look at it next week. It's basically a buffer between client code and the wizard, wrapping up all those like 26, okay, back then 26 only, at least without the preference. Wrapping up these methods, wrapping up the arrays and OTD object, STD class objects, and so on and so forth, using a class. That's my first class, and my first layer of encapsulation. And then after that, I started building my asset classes and property classes, and it took me like almost like 8 months to build the whole thing. That's the second layer of encapsulation. So you can actually directly using those classes, using constructors, well, meaning using the new keyword. For example, you can like create a new data definition block using the data definition block class and the constructor if you want to. After I built all the asset classes and property classes, I added the third layer of encapsulation, meaning the introduction of the Cascade class. And this class hides basically everything behind the scenes, so you can use this single Cascade class to do quite a lot. We need to like talk about this class and at the end when we like almost like finish. And then beyond Cascade, I add the fourth layer of encapsulation, the Cascade instance and the report class. So there are like layers of encapsulation, and you need to know, okay, there are several layers of classes there, because I will jump from layer to layer whenever needs like arise. For example, next week when we talk about creation, and the third time when we meet, when we talk about, for example, editing things, we need to like jump down below the asset classes. So we will look at the service object. I will like tell you why we need to do that. And later on, we will talk about, for example, if we want to, we can talk about like syncing assets and so on and so forth. That's like the last layer, the uppermost layer. that's like does almost everything. It does crazy things, but you don't need to like go to under the hood and look at the STD class objects and so on and so forth. So I really want you to understand, okay, we will need to like jump around, okay, in this hierarchy. Sometimes like down to, we never like go to the whistle, but we may need to go to the service object, and sometimes we go all the way to Cascade or even like Cascade instances. So we will like go around, okay, by like looking at different layers of encapsulation. Okay, any questions about this part? If not, I want to address a simple issue. Eric Espana actually brought my attention to this more than a year ago. It's about aliases. Unlike many like APIs, okay, I like aliases in the sense that I want to have like several names for the same thing. Not because I'm like fond of aliases as such, but rather when I like start with a class, okay, normally I use their names. For example, they tend to have very long names, and I like stick with those names. For example, data definition block, okay, or like XHTML data definition, something like that, okay, for page, and so on and so forth. And then they have like page configuration set, okay, for configuration set. They tend to have like quite long names. Of course, I want to stick with whatever they use. But later on, okay, when I use them, I find, okay, those names are, well, a bit long to type. For example, data definition block, okay. I want to have something shorter. So I basically like extend a class and implement a child class using a shorter name without any code inside. So I'm just like extending a class with no code so that I can use a shorter name. For example, data block. Okay, that's like a class alias. For methods, the same reason. You will see like a lot of like long names. Sometimes I feel, okay, the name is too long. Can I have like a shorter version? Well, sometimes I feel, okay, why don't we like go for a shorter version? So I would like just define another method calling the version, okay, with the longer name, but they mean the same thing. For constants, I also like use aliases. For example, those class constants are actually reading from the constants file. So I only define those constants once, but I use them everywhere so that I don't need to worry about, okay, what is defined where. They are always like defined in the constants file, and all those classes just like point to those that file and like grab the values from the constant. It's constants defined in that file. Okay, any questions about aliases? So don't be surprised, okay? Sometimes when I say like data definition block, sometimes I would say data block. They mean the same thing. Although, I mean, we are talking about two different classes. Okay, if not, identifiers. Just briefly, okay, when you work with web service scripts, okay, you need to like, well, tell my library what you are trying to retrieve, okay? Am I still sharing my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, okay. For example, this line here. There are two different ways of passing in an identifier. First, you need to pass in the type. And I want a strict type. Meaning, for example, okay, when you look at Cascade, when you, for example, edit a block, you will see the type, okay, just like this. But for my library to work, I want a tighter control of like types. So I really want something more specific other than just like block. Actually, if you look at my library closely, you will notice, okay, actually the string block will work because I have to use a batch work to retrieve the exact type of whatever block you're trying to retrieve. So it would take a longer time because I need to like figure out what type of block you are trying to retrieve. There are 5. So I need to like issue a batch job to query 5 times to grab the right type. So I would recommend, okay, always use the class constants so that whatever you're retrieving, just like plug the class name in and then : type. That will do the job. After this, you need to either give me the 32-digit hex string or the path and the site name. So either way, either you give me the long hex number string or two pieces, okay, the path and the site name. Now about the path, when you like select an asset, the path is right here. So you can just like copy this part and then paste it into your code. If you want the ID, okay, of course you can also like copy from here. So depending on like exactly how you want to like access a certain asset, you can either use the hex string or use the path and site name. But later on, you see, okay, in some scenarios, you can only have the IDs. For example, if you like retrieve a whole bunch of like children from a folder, or you can only have paths. For example, you are working against a site, okay, you only know the paths and you don't have the ID string. Or maybe you're syncing between two instances. You can't really like work on ID strings. Instead, you just say, okay, the path of like instance A should map onto the site, the path of instance B. You only have the path. You don't have the hex string ID. So depending on what you're doing, you need to like be good at both ways of like retrieving data or like editing data later. Now, I want to remind you, when you copy something, okay, like this, okay, and then paste it into your code, watch out for the spaces before and after the string. There are actually spaces here. So when you paste them into your code, make sure you remove the spaces. Because you are developers, okay, I don't bother to trim those strings. So if there's a space, it won't work. But the slash is okay. So if you like put in the leading slash after the path, I will just like get rid of it. But rather than just like taking care of everything, I assume you know what you're doing. So I'll just like do as little as I can to make my life a little bit easier. Now, when you read something, I just want you to know, okay, the path is right here. So I want you to like pay attention to this line, okay, path and then the path of the object. If you read, okay, what I call components, meaning under the administration area, like data definition, content types, metadata set, and so on and so forth, the path will look different, okay, slightly different than what you see inside Cascade. If you like go inside Cascade and if you like look at, for example, configuration set, okay, and you like click this one, you see this whole thing. But actually the path ends here. This part is not part of the path. You can like read it and then you look at that read dump. You will know, okay, this part is not part of the path. So be careful, okay, when you work with these things, okay, under administration. So you have a container with a name, but when you feed in, okay, the path of some components, you pay attention to the actual path, okay, that you should plug in. Don't include this part. It won't work if you do that.
That's good to know, Wing.
Well, you try it, okay? Okay, site names, okay? It's just the, for example, something like this, okay? So Cascade-admin or whatever site you're working with. Okay, so I talked about slashes, I talked about spaces, and I also like told you, okay, to really like want to figure out the exact path, okay, of something, you start with this, you plug this into your code, you read it, and then you look at the path, and you know, okay, how to like deal with certain components. Just make sure, okay, if a path doesn't work, start with the hex digit ID first, and then you read the read dump, then you figure out the path. Okay, exception handling. Well, Chris won't be surprised, but the others might be, okay? I always use like try and catch in my code. Just want you to like appreciate why. When you are dealing with web services, a lot of things can go wrong. Starting from the very beginning, okay, your server might be dead. Well, actually, this happens a few times because I crashed my server. So when you like run your program, okay, and you see something like soap error, blah blah blah, okay, just read the message, and you have to like put your code inside like try and catch, so that you have some decent and even meaningful error messages, okay, when something goes wrong. In a second, I'll show you like a phantom node, okay, and you see the error message. So always like put your code in try catch and try to like print out whatever messages, okay, return to you when something goes wrong. So don't be lazy, okay. Otherwise, I mean, don't ask for help, okay, if you don't have a try and catch block.
There is a lazy way to try and catch.
So when something goes wrong, at least I want to know, okay, the message. What does the message say? Okay, I really need that part. Otherwise, I mean, there's no way for me to like figure out what goes wrong. Okay, and then later on, okay, if we have a second part or third part, actually we'll look at how to use like try and catch inside try and catch. For example, you can have like try and catch in a for each loop. For example, you can like scenario. For example, you want to like loop through an entire site, and then you want to like examine pages. When things goes well, you like edit a page, for example. But when something goes wrong, you just want to continue. You want to skip something that is wrong. Well, you need to like put the try catch block inside the for each, so that you can like continue without quitting the program. Well, we'll address these issues, okay, later when time comes. Okay, I'll stop here for the exception handling. Next thing, just briefly, okay, because we are running out of time. I really want to speed up a little. About web services, I hope, okay, everybody appreciates, okay, how powerful and dangerous PHP can be. And I cannot emphasize enough, okay, web services are even more dangerous. In the sense that, okay, if you write a script, I can write a script, okay, to delete everything from Cascade. Okay, so be very, very careful about your scripts, especially when you are running a powerful script to access a lot of assets, like modifying everything or deleting things or moving things around. Be very careful, okay? The best advice I can give is always start with one single asset, one single site, one single folder. Always like focus on a tiny, tiny thing. Test your script. Make sure you see what you want to see, and then do it like slowly. For example, if you want to like modify a whole site, don't do it like right at the beginning. It's extremely dangerous. You might delete it or something, okay? Just try it with a single page. And then if you are comfortable with that the result of that single page, then do a small folder with like 4 or 5 pages. And when you feel more comfortable, then you can like deal with a larger folder until you are absolutely sure, okay, you want to modify an entire site. Don't do that, okay? So make sure your script works and make sure it gives you what you want with a single page, with a small folder, before you move on to something bigger. I mean, sometimes there's no like going back. Of course, I mean, you still have the recycle bin if you delete something. But if you like change something, you might need to like manually go back to each asset and like reverse to the previous version. That will be very tedious and labor heavy, okay? Don't do that, okay? So my advice is, I mean, always start with something small. Always like start with a single page or a single block or something. Don't like try to modify everything right at the beginning. Don't do that. Now, I have warned you, okay? So don't blame me for like later whatever, okay, that goes wrong. Another advice, before you go deep into Cascade, create a test site, and then you run everything in your test site. Because it's a test site, you don't mind like corrupting it or actually destroying it, deleting the whole thing, but always like play inside before you feel comfortable. For example, like modifying pages or moving things around. Always do it inside your test site. And actually, if you have a test instance, like I do, okay, I have a sandbox instance and the production instance. I always do testing on the sandbox instance until I feel absolutely sure. Okay, I feel absolutely comfortable. I won't like do anything with the production server. Well, yes and no. Sometimes I also like want to like play something on the production server. Then I always like restrict everything in my site, in my Cascade admin site. If I screw it up, okay, at least I know how to fix it. But when I run my script against other sites, I always like do it very slowly, a page at a time, a block at a time, until I feel comfortable. Okay, so again, web services can be extremely powerful. I mean, you need to like get deep enough to appreciate this. But once you get deep enough, be very careful about like what you are doing. Try to like restrict the scope to one asset at a time, one site at a time. Okay, debugging. There are many ways to debug your program. One way is like, well, just like read the read dump. Okay, this is actually a very good way to debug code. For example, when you're trying to do something and you don't see the result in the read dump, well, your code could be maybe something is missing or something. Now, I want to just show you this. Okay, this is U for utility and debug. Utility. And then there's a dump method. You can do something like this to dump, for example, an object, an array, normally not a single variable, okay? But you can if you want to. That's a lot of code to type just to print out the variable. But if you want to, like, for example, dump the entire object or dump whatever, you can use this class and this method to dump it. And actually, this class, okay, has something built into it. If you call this thing, okay, in a class, I'm talking about a class, okay, it will actually print the, besides, okay, whatever you're dumping, it will also give you information about where you're calling this method. For example, from which class and which line. So it will give you the class name and the line number where you are printing. So if you are actually like doing something with my classes, you want to look into my classes, and then you want to like, okay, play with my classes. And actually, in a second, I'm going to do that, okay? You can insert these lines into my classes or your classes, and then when you like dump something, okay, from your class, it will actually tell you, okay, from which class and at which line. So this can be really useful when you are like debugging something. I use it a lot. And I also use this for dumping like arrays and so on. Well, if you, like Chris, okay, have an IDE, well, go ahead and use it and find out what like the debugging features it provides. But because I will learn use like some like IDE, but right now I don't have any. So I only like use my own tools, okay, to debug. Okay, any questions before I move on? It's already like 3:25, so I still have a few.
When you were
Yep.
when you were typing the dump command, your autocomplete showed some other methods. Are those are there different methods in that class?
Yeah. There are a few methods in this class. Message is used like to for example, you insert a string and then it will print out a string. For example, it's very simple.
Okay.
Okay, reading assets, okay. I want to like focus on a few things. First, there are two types of methods you can call to read something, and I want to go to the Cascade class. Where is it? Okay. Oh no, Cascade. Okay. Well, let me just go back. Okay, this is my site, and then this is normally how I get there. I click Web Services Tutorial, and then Cascade is right here. Okay. This Cascade class should be your first class that you need to really look at closely. Go down and look at the class API. There are about 200 methods defined in this class. Well, not exactly 200 different definitions, because I use this call, okay, to create about 80 something methods automatically. Okay, in this Cascade class, if you want to use it to read something, there are two types of methods that you can use. One is called getAsset. It's right here. GetAsset. Where is it? Ooh. GetAsset. GetX. Right here. So you can use the Cascade object and then call getAsset. And you need to give me the type, and then either the ID hex or the path and the site name. Now notice, okay, this asset method will throw an exception if the asset doesn't exist. Meaning, if you give me the wrong type, or you give me the wrong ID, or some typo in the path, some typo in the site name, you will receive an exception. Asset not found. Okay, so this is a stricter version of reading something. If that something doesn't exist, you will see something in your catch block. Okay, I recommend using this getAsset whenever you can, because if something is wrong, you will need to know. There's a second type of methods, okay, besides this getAsset, is the getX part. GetX. This X is actually a placeholder. It's a class name. So whatever class name you can find in this API documentation, let me just go back, and asset classes, all these names are class names, okay? So you can use the get preceding any of these to get that type of asset. For example, you have get page, you have get page configuration set, you can have get page configuration set container, and so on and so forth. For aliases, you can also have get data block, for example.
Wait, where was that link?
Okay, let me just go back. If you go to Web Services Tutorial, and then the fourth link, asset classes.
Okay, thanks.
Now, I want to emphasize one thing, okay? This get whatever, okay? Get asset is an abstract class, so you cannot really get this, okay? This get asset, that's the stricter version. So you can use get asset factory container, and get data definition block, and so on. These methods don't throw exceptions. They don't. So we have two types of get methods here, okay, for retrieving assets. One, a single method, get asset. You need to fit in the type and then either the hex string or the path and ID. If the asset doesn't exist, you will receive an exception. The second type, get whatever class name, okay, for example, get page, get data block, get template. They don't throw exceptions. Meaning, if the asset does exist, you will get the asset. If they don't exist, you will get a null. You won't receive any warning. Questions about the difference? Okay, why do we have two types of get methods? Let me just show you this, okay? If I want to use get data block instead of get asset. Oh, I can do this. And because, okay, the name, okay, gives me the information of the type, so I don't need this part. So are you following?
Yep.
Okay, let me just repeat. I'm calling the second type of get method. I'm using get data block. because the type information is right here. So I don't need the type. I just need the hex string or the path site name.
But you're saying that this won't throw an error.
This won't throw an error. So if I change the ID to something else, okay, of course, okay, because I'm calling dump right after it, okay, this will cause an error. But if I remove this part, then it won't throw any exception if the block doesn't exist.
Okay.
Any questions about this part? So I'm going to run the program again, okay, just to show you it will also work. Okay, so it works. Now I want to put the code side by side, okay, so that, well, they are right here actually. So I hope, I mean, you have already downloaded the code I put online. And I am showing you like two ways of like reading something. Get as a, no, not this one. Read page. Oh no, this is just the hex and whatever. Sorry, I take it back. So it's not in the code example, but this will do. Okay, let me just like put it side by side. So this I will change it to get as it. And I need to put in the type. This is the block. Oh. So either way will work, okay, provided the block exists. If the block doesn't exist, this will throw an exception, but this won't. Any questions about this?
Yeah, did you do that on purpose? Like, is there a reason that one throws an error?
Of course. Of course there's a reason. Okay, let's say, well, we will see this next time, okay? When you create something in Cascade, I don't know whether you have done this before, okay? But when you say, okay, I want to create a page named such and such, if the asset already exists, what happens? Well, the answer is you will create a second version with the same name, tagged with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For example, if you have a page, okay, called Union, okay, let's say, okay, you have a page name, okay, named with Union, and then you copy the page and create a copy, okay, right in the same folder. So you have like Union and Union 1. If you run the code again, you have Union 2. If you run the code again, you have Union 3. Do you follow?
Yep.
Yep.
But if you do this, okay, you first read that page. You use get page, okay? I'm talking about get page. Either you get the page, okay, so you get the page object, or you get null. You only copy or you only create when you get a null. Okay? So this is a test whether like something exists. If it doesn't exist, then you can create, you can copy or whatever. If it's like already there, you don't want to do anything. So you want to use the first version to test. Because the second version, you have to catch the exception, and then you need to put the code in catch. I think it's a hassle. So I don't want to use the second version just to test. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, so in production, you want to use get data block or get page.
When I'm testing something to see whether it exists, if it exists, I don't do anything. If it doesn't, then I do something.
Gotcha, that makes sense.
Yep. I don't want to like embed like try catch everywhere. Okay. So we have two types of methods, okay? Well, one just has one, okay, the get asset. The other, you can have like get and then followed by 41 different class names, okay? Well, actually more than that if you count aliases. So depending on like exactly what you want to do, you can use either one. But remember, okay, when you have like get a class name, they don't throw exceptions. So you need to test, okay, whether you have a null or an object of the right type. Okay, there's an exception in this get whole family methods, okay? That's get site. Because when you work with a site, okay, I want to make sure, okay, I don't get a null. So get site won't return a null if it doesn't exist. It will throw an exception instead. That's the only exception in my library. So I'm repeating, okay? Get site will throw an exception if the site doesn't exist. Okay, rows. If you want to read rows in Cascade, you have to plug in the numeric ID. I don't know whether you know, okay? Every row is associated with an ID. For example, 1, 2, 3, 10, 20, and so on and so forth. When you read a row, you have to plug in that number. You cannot use a name. You cannot use anything else. And they don't have like hex numbers, okay? So you only have a small integer. But in my Cascade class, okay, I provide you other methods to access rows, for example, using the name, using something else, okay? So you look at the Cascade API. Okay, phantom nodes. I just want to make sure everybody is with me because today's exercise, okay, includes reading pages and reading data definition blocks. So I want to make sure if you run into this problem, you won't be surprised. Okay, I have a block with a phantom node inside. I will explain what it is, okay, in a second. You see an error like this. The error says, okay, no such field exception. And then the field name WYSIWYG does not exist. What does it mean? Okay, I'm reading a block. And in this block, there's something hidden. Okay, let me just show you the block first. Cascade admin and is called monster something. This one. Come on. Okay. If you look at this block, okay, there's only one field, a text field. So there's nothing other than the text field. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
now,
looks like that.
Now, I'm going to modify my library, okay, just to show you something surprising. Where's my library? This is a block, so data definition block. And I want to know the line number. Line number 69. So I'm going to comment out line 69 just to show you something. Oh, is it here? No. No. 39. 39. Yeah, this line. I'm going to comment it out, okay? Now I'm going to run the program again. It works, of course, okay? But I want you to appreciate this. This part. What do you see?
Lots of null.
How many are there? You can't tell? How many are there?
19?
No. I'm talking about this is one node. This is one node. I'm sorry. There are two.
Oh, two. I thought you got the number of nulls. Never mind.
What is this? This is what I call a phantom node. Okay? It is in the block, but you won't see it if you don't use web services. Okay? And my library won't allow phantom nodes. I have to comment out that line in order to reveal the true color of this block. Okay, let me just show you the block again. This is the block. We have like a text field, okay, some lame text, okay. But when you look closely, well, some lame text is here, but you also have this second node.
Excuse me.
This is what I call a phantom node. Okay, how do you create phantom nodes? Well, you must have like committed this like cardinal sin before, and I want to remind you, okay, don't do that again. This is one way, okay, of like creating phantom nodes. There are a few different ways, but this way, probably you have already done that before. Let's say you have a data definition in use, okay? I'm talking about data definition in production. And one day you decide, okay, there's something wrong with the data definition. I need to, like, for example, regroup things, okay? For example, like to group certain fields, okay, in a group. Or something's really simple. I just want to remove one field. I want to remove one field, okay? Okay, you go ahead and remove that field from your data definition. And all the blocks, okay, associated with this, or all the pages for that matter, all the pages or blocks, okay, associated with this data definition, we have one less field. When you look at it, okay, in the back end, everything works fine because you don't see that. But actually, all the old data associated with the field you removed is still there in the database. They won't show up, okay, if you don't work with web services. They won't show up. But if you work with web services, they are all there. Okay, this is what I call phantom nodes. And remember, okay, my classes won't allow phantom nodes. So if you see something like what we saw a moment ago, okay, I'm going to like uncomment this line again. You will see something like this. Okay, an error. No such field exception. This is a very good indication, okay, there's a phantom node either in your blog or in your page. Any questions?
So this primarily appears when you're dealing with data definitions?
Yep. When you deal with like data definition blocks or pages, well, you will deal with pages, okay, sooner or later. When you see this, okay, you know there's a phantom node in your page. And actually, there's something funny, okay? While I was preparing this tutorial, I helped someone to fix some simple problem. Just it started about 2 weeks ago. Someone like asked on the discussion forum, okay, how do I do this? Okay, basically, this Ronnie wants to like remove a block from all pages from a region. I told this Ronnie, I don't know whether it's a he or she. I told him, okay, assuming he is a he, I told him that, okay, it's very simple. You can like use like 2 lines of code to remove, well, more than 2 lines, but the crux of the entire solution depends on only 2 lines. You can like remove everything, okay, from all pages. I mean, removing that block from a certain region from all the pages. And then he like tried my code. Right at the beginning, he ran into this phantom node problem. And we like spent quite some time like figuring out what is going on. But eventually it worked. But it can happen to you too. That's why I want to like talk about this right at the beginning. Questions? Okay, we are getting toward the end. Okay, in my classes, you should notice, okay, whenever you're calling some get method, normally a get method will return you a value, okay? So get whatever, then that whatever will be returned to you. When I was like building my library, I decided, okay, on one important thing. Whenever a method is not supposed to return any value, I will return something anyway, returning the calling object itself. So whatever method you're calling, okay, if it is not returning some value, like get something, then you will expect, okay, that method returns you the object itself, so that you can chain the methods. Do you follow? For example, if you call set method, okay, whatever set method you want to use, for example, when you're working on a page, you can set like a text, you can set like a block to a region. You can like hook up a block to a chooser, things like that. Whenever you're calling a set method or some other method, okay, that is not supposed to return anything. Well, it will return the object anyway. And then you will see code like this, okay? Because this get asset, okay, well, Cascade get asset returns the object, and then this object has a dump method, the dump method, then you can like, of course, okay, chain it like this. But if you want to, you can go further. You can do something like this, okay, and then call some other methods. This is kind of like jQuery. So you can use the same object and stack a whole bunch of methods. As long as you are sure, okay, everyone returns the object. Then you can stack a whole bunch of methods, okay, right under one single object. Who did that? So don't be surprised, okay, if you see a lot of like arrows, okay, in one statement. That's just like method chaining. Okay, exercises, okay, for today. I want you to like download the code I put online and try to run the script, okay, I gave you. Of course, I mean, you need to like change the script, okay. For example, you need to change the authentication. I'm looking at the file called read SS. Of course, okay, the first thing you need to change is the authentication file, okay, pointing to your own. And then, of course, okay, you need to like change the hex ID, the site name, the path, and so on and so forth to gear to what your needs, okay? Because I mean, I can only do so much with my Cascade. I cannot like anticipate, okay, what you are using. So you need to change whatever you need to, okay? And I want you to try this code, okay, and try to read everything if you can. And whenever you are reading something, look at the read dump of an asset you are reading. For example, I want to like highlight two things, okay? When you are reading index block, block XML is missing. And I want someone to tell me what it means, okay, next time. Why missing and what does it mean? What does it entail? Now, when you read a page, I want you to notice, okay, these are defined, but they are meaningless in the page. They are all null. So you can read a page, all right, but you cannot, through a page, okay, you cannot like find out the metadata set information unless you call my own methods, okay? You cannot just like read the read dump and then get the ID because it's always null. So I want you to pay attention to these two SS and like look at the read dump carefully. It tells you a lot, okay, about these SS, and we'll come back to this, okay, later. Okay, on my page online tutorials, okay, at the end of 01, I also gave you some exercises. First, I want you to try two different ways of retrieving SS using get asset versus get page configuration sets, get index block, and so on and so forth. And try it yourself, okay, and see. Sometimes, okay, when you like do this, you will receive an exception when there's a typo. But if you like use the get whatever class, okay, you won't see anything except you get a null. So I want you to like try that, and then I want you to look at the Cascade class and try to like scan through the methods and see what you can find there. Are there surprises? And in my site, just want to make sure everybody know that. Right under web service tutorial, the second one, courses, and actually it's here where you find the online tutorials. I have 3 different courses, okay, introductory, intermediate, and advanced courses. You can treat, okay, this like this online tutorial is kind of like a condensed version of the 3 courses. I try to like put squeeze everything into a few meetings. But if you really want to find out details, okay, you can come here and like get more details. But let me just like tell you, okay, these 3 courses, okay, is actually a condensed version of my entire tutorial site. So if you really want to know the details, you need to go elsewhere. But this is a very good starting point, okay? So you can actually start here from lesson 1. And this is actually what I want you to do, okay? Look at lesson 1 and try to like, well, understand what is going on there. And from this point on, I won't like bring up the classes again. Well, you can come here and like check things out. Okay. The last thing I really want you to like try is to come up with some ideas what you want to do with web services. Let's say if we like stick long enough, okay, well, let's say we like go all the way to the end, let's say. Then what do you want to do with web services? What kind of like things you want to show off, okay? Well, I can do this, for example. Or you can like use it as like a presentation topic next time in Atlanta.
Yeah,
Okay,
get that free get that free conference payment, you know, with the
Yep.
All expenses paid.
Marriott reward points, man.
How do I stop my screen sharing now?
I think it's over. It just zoomed out. It was...
That's me.
Camera icon at the top.
Okay, before we call it an end, okay, any suggestion, I mean, anything I did wrong this time so that I will try to avoid that next time?
I think it was great, Wing. I think it was a good amount of information, you know?
Yep.
Well,
Hey, other guys, any suggestions? Anything I need to improve next time?
I just had one question with regards to the phantom stuff, the phantom nodes. Is there a reason why you say, okay, no phantom nodes, or why you're ignoring that? Because that is data that's still there. It's just not being displayed.
Okay. The reason why I want to ban it, because I don't think, okay, we should deal with phantom nodes at all. I think it's a fault by Cascade, by Hendon Hill, I mean. But somehow that's life, okay? So if you push me, okay, actually I have 4 more classes to deal with phantom nodes. But that will be our, like, the advanced course, okay? Because it involves a lot. Like to deal with phantom nodes, but because phantom nodes are there, so you need to watch out. And if you like write what I call raw code, okay, RAW, raw, okay, meaning you don't use my library, but you write your own code, okay, you roll up your sleeves and then you look at the arrays and STD class objects and so on and so forth. Fine, I mean you deal with them. But for me, I will ban them right at the beginning. Okay, I don't want to deal with phantom nodes unless we go to the 3rd class, okay, 3rd course.
Okay.
So the point is this: I make sure once all the phantom nodes are cleared from Cascade, they won't be introduced anymore unless you do whatever I told you, okay, to commit the cardinal sin, okay, by removing things from your data definition.
So is there a best practice? I mean, if you have a data definition that you need to change that's already in use.
My recommendation is always start something new.
Okay.
Of course, I mean, the next question will be, okay, I have something old, something new. How do I move things from something old to something new? Of course, okay, I have to address that. But that, again, is like the topic of the 3rd course. That's really difficult, but interesting.
And by 3rd course, are you talking about the one scheduled in January?
No, I'm talking about the one scheduled, possibly scheduled in August.
Okay, so you mean like
we have a 3rd one.
So you mean like the third section of your tutorial?
If there's a third section, yes.
He means the one scheduled for Atlanta in September.
He
But
means
actually,
episode 3, the Phantom Node
yeah,
Menace.
episode 3. Yeah, together. Yeah, episode 3.
Wouldn't that be episode 1, the prequel?
Yeah.
Other questions?
Did you make a recording of this session?
I think so.
Yes.
So other people can revisit.
Yes, we've been recording the whole time, actually.
Whoa. Okay, before I call it an end, two things I want to remind you. When Eric Espana sends you an invitation to the second part of this installment, please accept, okay? Stick with me. I'll give you more fun, okay, next time. So accept the invitation if you really want to like join us. Second thing, it depends on like whether you want to like keep on chatting, like you have like something really like you want something more advanced than whatever we have been like talking about, okay, today. You want to ask me, or you want to like share some ideas. If you want to like hang around for another like 10, 15 minutes or half an hour, I'll be here, okay? Otherwise, I don't want to retain you, okay? But again, thank you everybody for joining in, and I hope, okay, you get something useful from this discussion today.
Yes, did.
Yep.
Thanks, Wing.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Thanks.
So, anything you guys want to talk about?
I need
Projects?
to get my PHP Any working still on my XAMPP.
Ditto.
You talk to Eric, okay? I will go home and check my PHP PHP I9 and see what I did, and to find out whether there's anything useful to share. But that's all I can say right now.
Right on.
Yeah, actually, last Monday, a few of us did a hangout to talk about the basic setup. So I'll share a link with that to that. So if anyone has other questions, what we found was that there are different ways to set up Wing's library in PHP. So depends on your needs, I guess.
Yeah.
One more thing. I have already uploaded all the materials for this episode 1. So you have, well, I assume you have already downloaded the first part, but the second and the third parts are already up there. So if you want to, you can download them and install them into your test website if you want to. Actually, you can try them. I mean, it's fun to really like run something, and then you keep creating things. Okay, something pops up. Okay, a site, something pops up, a blog, and so on and so forth. If you want to do that, I will talk about the code next time, but you can try if you want to. But be careful, okay?
Yeah.
I can't emphasize enough.
Oh yeah. Thanks, Wing. This was really, really helpful.
Okay. Any questions about like what you want to do? For example, like okay, we are dealing with a lot of assets like of this type. Can web services help? If they can, how do I do that? Things like that. I'll save the question.
How the assets pluralize. So when you do a query, let's say, and you don't know the ID, do you always have to keep referring back to the Cascade web interface to grab that, or can I just put like a partial query and I know I have like doing a data query to a database? Is there a way
This
to?
is not SQL. You always.
No, I know, but if I'm looking for an asset that I'm not sure of, do I always have to go back to the web interface?
Well,
there
you
a
can
way?
use the get whatever class method at least to try.
Mhm. Yeah.
But remember, we have just started yet. Later on, most likely you'll be like, for example, okay, you'll be, for example, traversing a site or traversing a folder, and then everything is given to you, like the IDs, the paths, the types, and
Right.
so on. So you don't need to guess.
Just keep going, referring back to those IDs as
Yep,
you loop through them.
yep, yep.
Okay. Yeah, I
But when
mean,
you're creating, yeah, when you're creating things, you can plug in anything you want.
yeah, yeah. Because in my mind, I was thinking, oh, I could put anything in the ID where the ID argument is like a query or or not just the ID for that asset.
But remember, then you will need to issue, for example, a batch job to Cascade, because Cascade is very exact. You need to try and catch and do a lot of error catching and do a lot of batch in order to do something. Actually, for example, okay, you can actually do something like this. My library allows you to do this. You plug in an ID without supplying the type. It will give you the type. But then it will do like 41 batch queries in order to get the type.
And that will take a long time.
So if you force me to guess, I mean, how long would it take? I don't know.
How many phantoms would get returned?
Well, try it, okay? You can use my get asset, okay, to read some of your pages and see whether you can run into a phantom page. I don't have any phantom page in my installation, okay? I tried very hard to find one, but I couldn't. So you guys, okay, let me know if you can find one.
I know we have them. that's no doubt about it. It's we don't look at it as a bug. We look at it as a feature.
Why not?
It's not just phantom.
There's something. Oh, sorry. There's something important. Okay, I didn't talk about how to fix a phantom node if you run into a problem like this. Okay, manually. Okay, you can do something like this. When you're reading a blog or reading a page and you see that no such field exception, there's something simple you can do, okay, to fix the problem. You go to the Cascade backend, you hand edit that blog or that page, you just edit and submit. No more than that, okay? Edit and submit. Cascade will actually look at the data definition and clean out everything if you do that. Okay, actually, I want Hannon Hill to do this, okay, whenever you change your data definition, but I know it involves a lot, okay? Let's say if you have a data definition that's used by hundreds of blocks, if you change the data definition, I really want those hundreds of blocks changed as well. But then, I mean, it will take forever, I know that. But Cascade doesn't do that, okay? So you need to hand edit everything if you run into this problem.
So at the risk of, giving away what you would talk about in the phantom node section, does this mean that does this problem affect whether you can use web services to migrate data in data definition fields? Like if you want to change, let's say, move a field in a data definition into a group or something like that.
Yes.
You normally you can't do that in Cascade.
Well, let's separate this topic into two parts, okay? First, how to deal with phantom nodes using web services. There's a way to do that. And we need to wait until the third episode to talk about this. But there's a simple way, okay, to address this. Actually, I use the second way because I don't bother to really use my classes to fix the phantom. You do that, okay? You, for example, traverse a site or traverse a folder. Whenever you are stuck, okay, somewhere, you look at where you are stuck, okay, by looking at either the ID of the entity you are working with, or look at the last modified date to find out, okay, where your script stops. Then you fix that item, and then you run your script again. then it will stop at some other item, and then you fix that item. Well, depending on how many assets that have like phantom nooks inside, I only have a few pages, okay? I'm talking about thousands of pages, okay? I only have a few that behaved like that. I just like fix them manually. But if you have like phantom nooks everywhere on every page, I don't know. Then probably you need to wait until the third episode and fix them using web services.
Gotcha.
Other questions? Hey guys, if you don't have any questions, let me go.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thanks,
All right,
guys.
see ya.
I don't know. I'm not saying I want to end this. I mean, this is fun. But if you have questions, let me know.
Right on.
Right.
It's time to go to
Thanks,
lunch
Wayne.
over here. So.
Yeah, lunchtime.
Yeah, well, thanks
Okay,
everyone for joining.
Yeah, thank you again, everybody. And we'll meet again next Monday. And I will talk about how to create objects, okay, well, how to create assets, okay. And we'll like build a site. Well, not exactly a site, but some assets, okay, about like 20 of them. And then if you want to like find out how to create everything, okay, on my site, I actually posted like scripts to do everything. But you have to be like careful about like the sequence and what comes first, what comes next. For example, if you want to like hook up, okay, a block to a configuration of a configuration set, okay, let's say if you want to do that, you have to create the configuration set first before you like do the plugin, and then you have to create the block, and then you plug the two together. So there's a sequence of like doing things. We'll talk about that later, okay, next week. Questions? Again, thank you everybody, okay, if there are no questions.
All right, thanks, Wayne.
All right, thank you.
Okay, see you next week.
Next week.